Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. So I'm in Microsoft Copilot, and this is what I see a lot of times. People will use a prompt and they'll say, write a landing page based off something like local SEO for a cleaning company. Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude will spit out a page. You'll do a bunch of different prompts to make it the perfect landing page, and then you upload it to your website. And that's going to even take a step further where people are creating, let's say, 10 to 20 pages a day, and they're using prompts to say, okay, create a similar page based off this, and here's the requirements, change out this content, etc. You launch it, and most times actually this content might not even get indexed by Google, but if it does, it rarely ranks. And if it does rank, it might have like a couple of days of ranking, and then it just drops off completely. So what I've been noticing is that there's been this big push with AI content, fast, 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 get as much as you can get onto your website, but the quality check is just not there. So this is actually what I do for my own business, TM Blast, but also for my clients as well. So I take a much more measured approach. We try to do things in stages. Of course, I use ChatGPT and Copilot to help write the content, but I use a second tool called Clearscope. And what I did was I now took the content that Copilot had and I put it into Clearscope. I have a C minus score. So when you look at this, you say, okay, why is the score so low? On the right hand side, I have semantic groupings of the keywords that are most important to have on this page. Some keywords like backlinks, I don't have on my page. Now, from my perspective, I don't do any active backlink building, but backlinks are still important, like things like getting on LinkedIn or trustindex.io or claiming your Yelp account or Apple Business. So those are all backlinks, but they're not backlinks in the traditional sense. So I know for my business, I should really include the word backlinks. And then there's other keywords too, like search engine optimization, user experience, organic traffic, digital marketing, Google Search Console, etc. I just want to show you real quick what I mean by adding these words that are missing to the page. So let's just pretend I have this. I'm going to create another paragraph over here. I'm going to say something like, by creating a good user experience with a clean design, you can get the benefit of more organic traffic and leads to your website. Now, let's just pretend I wrote another sentence as well. See how the score is still moving around the C minus. Let's say I had the words, we can obtain more organic traffic through proper keyword research. And then I'm going to use a few other words as well, just to kind of close this out. Let's also add the word and also having a strong technical SEO website. Okay, so this sentence might not even make a lot of sense, but the score now is changing. So obviously I have to word these or word this in a clear way. But the way that I look at this is that this is very helpful for me to kind of go back and say there's actually a lot of words that would make a lot of sense to be on this page, not only from a Google ranking perspective, but also from a user experience. They want to see things like Google Analytics, for example, mobile optimization, office cleaning, on-page SEO, page speed, search intent. All these words are actually pretty applicable to the service that I provide, but it's the same thing that I do with my clients. What I tell them is that they're the expert in their field. I'm really good at figuring out terms to go after and strategy to implement, but I ultimately, though, don't really know the industry that you're in. So I relied on a tool like Clearscope to find more semantic phrases to add. One more point I want to make, though, about this, that it's not even just me saying that you need to have a higher score. If I go to the competitor review and I can change it either to desktop or mobile, most of the time, the sites that rank really well have a strong content grade score. It's very rare you'll find somebody who has an F, which there is one, but it's position 9. But it'd be extremely rare. Actually, there's 2, also position 7. It'd be extremely difficult, though, to have an F content score at the very top. Generally speaking, the sites that rank very high have a high enough grade score. Now, I'm going to go back into the editor tool one more time, just to make this clear. This is what I do next, though, for my clients. So version history, I'm going to say TM Blast version. And then what I do next is that I send it to my clients to say client version. So when I send them the Clearscope link, let's say I use ChatGPT or Copilot and I write my own content and then I put it into Clearscope and then I add the missing words that need to the page. Then I send them the link to Clearscope. They don't even need to have the access to the tool. They don't need the password. They can simply just click on the link. They can go into the tool directly and then they can change the content, make sure it's accurate to what they provide. And then once we have a really good sound landing page from both a user experience and also from the brand and SEO, then I'm going to launch the page. But I'm recording this video because I've been seeing a trend where I've been hearing more from some of my clients where hey, I'm using Claude, or hey, I'm using ChatGPT to automate more content, because if we create 10 to 20 more pages per week, we should get X amount more traffic, because Claude told me that in 90 days we should expect top rankings. And it's kind of the approach. It makes sense with what we're trying to do, but it's so fast and so quick that a lot of times after 90 days you'll look back and say, all these pages that we created barely drove any traffic. And I've been seeing this across the board for both potential new clients who come to me, where I review their accounts and I'm looking at this AI strategy. And I see all these not indexed pages within Google, or when I look at their pages in Google Search Console, they're barely driving any traffic, yet they have this programmatic approach, or they're just going really quick with trying to create as many pages as possible, but they're really forgetting the SEO strategy that's behind it. So anyway, I think Clearscope's a good tool to use. There's plenty more than just that, but I think, long story short, if you're creating content that's AI specific, that's fine. But I also caution to make sure you're using a human to review it, make sure it's accurate to the brand, but then also use a tool like Clearscope, or another tool as well, like SEMrush has something as well, to kind of go through another review to make sure that we're adding the correct words to the page. Because ultimately, you might notice that, hey, we should probably have a section around Google Analytics, for example, or Google Search Console, or Bing Webmaster Tools, anything like that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for the next one.